Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at player props here, Nate, on a Tuesday night. A little 5-game slate for you guys to choose from. So we got some pretty good picks here, I think. Some pretty fun matchups as well. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We are bringing you these videos each and every weekday this regular season. Tough night in the props last night, obviously, because I started tweeting them out for everyone. So obviously the first night wasn't going to go well. But we're looking to steer the ship back on course as we've been super on it this season so far, hitting at about a 60% clip or so. So Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first NBA player prop for tonight.
Yeah, nothing to get you on track better than Joel Embiid when he's playing at MVP form and when the Sixers are really making a concerted effort to get Harden and Embiid working together. I mean, I guess you hear from the media and maybe they hear to a degree like there's way too much my turn, your turn. They're not involving each other, and sometimes Harden is deciding to try to get his offense instead of feeding maybe the most unstoppable player. And that led to a double overtime loss against Houston in Harden's return. And now since then, 28 assists for James Harden, feeding Embiid at a ridiculous clip. Most of his 16 assists in Embiid's 53-point outburst going to the big man. And so in his last four now, Embiid averaging 41 points, 10.5 rebounds, 38% usage. Even the one game, I mean, he had some astronomical usage rates in the other two, but the one game he had only 28% against LA, 38 points on possibly the defensive player of the year, Anthony Davis. And now he faced Sacramento, Domantas Sabonis, definitely not the greatest defender. Sacks allowed the most paint points in their last three, sixth most on the season, just gave up 58 paint points and 27 free throws to the Knicks. And actually allowing 7 more paint points on the road versus at home. Also allowing a ton of rebounds on the road, the most in the last three. And they're on a road, front end of a road back-to-back here. So I actually almost like 10.5 rebounds for Embiid more, which is plus money at FanDuel. 31.5 points is fine, but combine it with the rebounds at the same odds, 41.5, just tack on 10 rebounds. And if I'm saying he's getting 10 rebounds, double in a win, plus 145, good odds there. And if De'Aaron Fox doesn't play, I almost guarantee you the Sixers are going to win this game.
Yeah, it's funny. Sacramento has their DPOG award that they're giving out, Defensive Player of the Game, to try to, get Mike Brown is trying to incentivize these guys to play defense with a Defensive Player of the Game chain that you win now when you play well. They're really excited because they moved up from like 23rd in defensive rating this season to 16th or 17th in their last like 10. This is a franchise that hasn't been in the top 10 in defensive rating in I don't know how long. So kudos to them for playing better than they've played. Not the matchup for them though in this one, as you said. I prefer for juice, I prefer the double in the win over the rebound straight up, just because I think the points are something you always want to tack on with Joel. But I have no problem with the points and rebounds combined. I'm probably looking at like points and the double in the win for him, feeling pretty good about those things, especially if D Fox doesn't play, where that might actually go down. If D Fox gets ruled out, you might get worse odds on that. So probably better to hit the double in the win if you want that juice pretty early. I'm going to go with an under here on the actual point god, as he is nicknamed, Chris Paul. And it's just, I mean, no one likes to go under on Chris Paul stuff, but he's getting up in age. It's 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 110 there on FanDuel. It's just the usage for CP3 this year, right? Like the 15.9% usage rate in the 13 games that he's played this season, shooting, his field goal attempts at like less than 8 a game per 36. I think it's like 10 per game per 36 at this point, but it's definitely less than 8 in the amount of minutes that he's playing, roughly 30 a game or so. And since he's come back, and even in just looking at all 13 games, really don't even need to worry about the 3 since he's been back. He's averaging 9.9 points a game, 8.9 boards, 8.9 assists rather, 4 assists, 4 boards. I'm sorry, 10 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds a game, 30 minutes. That's under the 27.5. Like I said, just the 8.2 field goal attempts a game for him. Hasn't really done much against Houston when he's played them since leaving their team, especially as part of the Suns. 12, 9, and 3. So 12 points, 9 assists, 3 boards in 30 minutes. All pretty much what he's been doing this season is what he does against the Rockets since he's been not on their team and playing them. He's only surpassed the total of this 28 points, rebounds, and assists once in the 6 times he's played them. He's only surpassed it 3 3 times in the 13 games he's played this season, and that usage isn't changing with or without Booker. You know, I mean, they missed him last game against the Pellies, obviously, but that didn't really up CP3's usage rate. He's still not putting the ball up that much, and he's diming decently, but he does get more dimes when Devin Booker is in, unsurprisingly, and Book's not playing. So I think there's some good feeling that he's going to go under the 28 points, rebounds, and assists tonight.
Yeah, it's strangely only his 6th road game of the season, I guess, and he has gone under in 5 of the previous ones there. Got injured in one of those, but I'm a little concerned just because the Suns are on a 4-game skid here, and they really need to get back on track, and they don't have Devin Booker, and who's going to get their offense going with Cam Payne struggling with his efficiency. I think it might be CP. If you want to sit on the sidelines and then jump on an under in their next matchup at the Clippers on Friday or Thursday, I believe, then I'm all aboard of that. I don't think that it's a terrible pick by any means. I'm a little. I think he fluctuates so wildly when he's going to try to shoot and when he's not. And this is a matchup where I'm going on the other side, Jalen Green, who's not really going to play a lick of defense. And 21.5 points is pretty low for a guy with a 32% usage rate in his last 5. That's only led to 23 points per game because he's not efficient at all. But I mean, this is like when we used to talk about Terry Rozier. Is there a button to click for field goal attempts? Because Green's going to get there. I mean, he has rough splits on the road, but at home, 51% from the field, 38% from 3. That's good for 25 points per game versus 19 on the road. He just had 30 in Phoenix because he got to the line 16 times. Also had 5 turnovers and followed that up with 7 turnovers at home in double overtime against the Sixers. So I like the points, and the closest thing I have to his absurd usage is over on 2.5 turnovers, minus 130. He's going to have Mikal Bridges all over him at times here. And I think the Suns, like I said, 4-game losing streak, they're going to try to get right here. That means shutting down the Rockets' main guy here, or at least forcing him into some bad plays that allow them to get going the other way and get this win that they need so badly.
Yeah, I feel all of that. I love combining the points and the turnovers for Jalen. I think it makes total sense, and I don't think anybody would really argue with you that it's still a pretty solid little same game parlay there. So, it's a weird time right now in Phoenix, so I don't know what to expect when they're even playing a team as bad as the Rockets. It's also a weird time in Houston as they just beat Milwaukee and have beaten like 4 teams this year who are with strong championship or playoff aspirations. So, who knows what's going to happen, but I think you can rely on Jalen Green to continue to get shots up, like you said, have the ball in his hands and turn it over, as the young man is still want to do this season. So I'm going to finish things off here with Zion. We sort of strongly alluded to that in the video that we have about the Pellies tonight and taking on the Jazz. It's just a bad matchup for the Jazz and a great matchup for Zion, who scores the second most points in the paint in the league per game this season, which is exactly where Utah struggles, dead last in allowing opponents points in the paint. I don't really need to read much more than that, I don't think. But I mean, when you have Kelly Olynyk and Larry Markkinen as your main interior stoppers on defense, you're probably going to be dead last in that category. In the last 4 matchups versus the Jazz, which included the likes of one Rudy Gobert being in the game, he still averaged 28 points, 6 boards in that time frame. So I'm looking at the points and rebounds for Zion, which combined, I believe, 34.5 tonight. Still not scared of that, as he's able to put up the required amount of rebounds, especially since he's been back in these last 10, which I really liked what I've seen from him in that time. 27 points, 8 boards in that time frame. Also has about 4.5 assists, something he does a lot when CJ and Brandon Ingram are both out, but I believe CJ McCollum will be back tonight for them and playing. So, I'm not really feeling quite as confident about the assists. He would need about 5 more to get over the total of 35.5. Well, 4 more to get over the 35.5 points and rebounds. If you add the assists, I'm just keeping the rebounds there, as I think he's going to have a chance for a ton of second chance points and just dominating that paint down low as the Jazz are just, turnstiles down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's key. The Jazz also giving up the second most offensive rebounds per game, and that will help him get a double-double, which surprisingly doesn't hit that often with Zion. That's why you're getting actually plus 245 at DraftKings for him to just have a double-double, win or lose. But he's done that in 2 of his last 3 roadies here against the Spurs, another team that is terrible guarding the paint and has some slow bigs down there. So I think you see kind of a parallel there where I like the points and rebounds. I like him to get a double-double and probably get a win too.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Jakob Pertl on the Spurs. Come back soon. We miss you playing out there. That is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We are tweeting out the props right now as well, so hoping to get those units up for you guys. And until we see you next, happy betting.